Except on flagrant fouls. You got it down, Pat.
My compadre for this season at the other mic, doing the color tonight. John, last week Angola coming off a very big win over the Fairfield Falcons. Tonight they're going up against a much smaller Fremont Eagle team. Fremont 0-1 as they went down to a very fine team last week. Who did they?
Southern Wells.
Southern. I wouldn't say South Adams. I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah, they lost a heartbreaker last week there to Southern Wells in the last half minute of the ball game. I believe it was a hard pass and went down to defeat 6-0. And Coach Steuben saying that they have a few more players eligible this week and made a few adjustments. So we'll see what he has for the Hornets. I think he's probably going to have to make quite a few adjustments. The way the Hornets looked last week, they almost looked in mid-season form.
Well, the offense got a lot of help last week from the defense. Defense keeping the offense off the field a lot of the time, doing a lot of the scoring last week for the Hornets.
They, you know, the 2 interceptions for touchdowns, and you know, they constantly harassed Fairfield's quarterback last week, and it was just basically Angola could do no wrong and Fairfield could do no right.
Well, the Hornets are going to kick it off here. We're about ready to get this one started. Ben Lash doing the kicking, did a fine job last week, kicked it very deep. Back is Justin Bach, one of the deep men. And it's
Chad Baker, the other.
And they're going to fake the reverse, and the Hornets did not bite for that one. They did a little bit, but the outside man stayed at home, and they're not going to get a whole lot of yardage as it's going to be brought up to about, looks like the 27, 26-yard line where the Fremont Eagles will put it into play.
Angola, I would imagine the heavy favorite here, and Coach Steuben, I coached against him for quite a few years, and again trying to run the reverse or the fake reverse on the kickoff. He's done that for many, many years.
Well, I expect that as strong as Angola was inside last week and not allowing much yardage on the ground, and Fremont having a lot of trouble on the ground, I don't expect Fremont to try to do much on the ground. I expect a lot of razzle-dazzle plays put in the air.
A lot of razzle-dazzle, maybe some throwing.
Right up the middle, and that's going to go for 0 gain as getting up off the bottom, I believe, was
Benji Steele, I believe, yes.
Steele, the fullback.
You still have to try all aspects of your defense, Tom, just in case, you know, there might be a crease there or crack there, and you run a few plays there, and after you discover that you can't run there, then that's when you diversify your offense a little bit.
Steele's only a sophomore. He's 5'10", 177, so he's got a little size and a little weight, but not real big as a fullback goes.
Not real big as a fullback.
Bach brings him up, and there's some movement, and looks like somebody on the Fremont side over there jumped. Looks like the guard on the left side.
As well as Angola anticipated the count last week, Tom, I would assume that Fremont may use some long counts, some staggered counts, some quick counts to try to keep the linebackers especially from blitzing and trying to guessing the count and putting a lot of pressure on them.
Well, you know, Fairfield tried that in the second half last week, and it really worked to their disadvantage, is that they did the same thing that Fremont did there. The kids early in the season are not used to that now, and if you've got a young team, it takes a lot of practice to get that down.
Right.
There's a wide pitch and going around the outside and getting in there. The big hit was Paul Ellison.
Nice pursuit.
No place to go around that corner out there. Baker, the ball carrier, the halfback, he's a senior, 5'11", 164, and finding no place to go. So that's third down and long 20 yards.
On the quick pitch like that, you try to get outside that defensive end and then turn it up and pick your holes. But that time the pursuit was very, very good, and he was not able to turn it upfield.
Well, field position is going to play a big part in this game, and right now Fremont's worked himself into a big hole.
Right.
That time it looked like they were trying to blitz right up the middle, and the play came right at Julian. His carrying the ball up the middle was number 9, Werman.
Brewster was right in there. Looks like he cut right inside and almost had the quarterback as he handed off the ball. So that makes it 4th down and about 17 yards. And again, they're deep in their own territory. You're going to have to punt from about his 10, 12-yard line.
Sutton back deep for the Hornets. Short man is Bird. Punt is away. It's a nice
punt.
Coming down to Sutton. Sutton going to cut to the outside, trying to look for a wall. He's very shifty, but no place to go as they just couldn't get the blocks. He just couldn't get over quick enough as Fremont's coverage was very good downfield.
I noticed, I didn't get his number, Tom, but just as Sutton caught the ball and he was coming toward the near sideline, somebody was going to block Fremont's player, but his back was to him, and the referee was standing right there, and he'd have gotten called for a clip, but he didn't block, and that's a very good heads-up play. Otherwise, they'd have been back about 15 yards.
Saved yourself 15 yards. You may not have made much on the return, but you didn't lose that 15.
Definitely. That was an excellent play. I'm sorry I didn't get his number.
Lewis brings him up. Julian the up man, Army the deep man, and there it goes off to Nathan Hatton on the right side. Nathan's going to pick up about 3 yards, make it 4 yards. We're going to put him up across the yard marker. That's the 45-yard marker of into Fremont territory.
Again, that, as in last week, that surge by the offensive line. If that offensive line can get that surge, those backs are going to get 3 to 4 yards a crack. And I'll tell you, that wears down a defensive line and a whole defense in a hurry.
Well, Army's out, and Michael Berry makes his first appearance. An injured thigh muscle, but we'll see how he works here tonight. Pitch is going to come to Barry. He's going to turn the corner. He's got a big hole. He's picked up some real yardage. A nice move to the outside. Runs over one tackler and takes it all the way down to the 20-yard line. And that injured thigh looked like it picked up some pretty good yardage there.
Probably put a little heat on it and got it warmed up, and he made a nice cut back and got him about 6, 7 more yards. Excellent move there by Mike.
Takes it down to the Fremont 21, so that play went from just across the 45 down to the 21, so it's pretty good yardage. Army's back in the tailback spot. Comes another pitch. This time it's back to Army. Army stays behind his blockers, turns it up the sideline, and takes it all the way down to right at the 10-yard lines where they're going to mark it as they keep working that side.
Again, the same play, but to a different guy there. A quick pitch to the near side. We saw Angola run that a few times last week. Maybe not with that good of luck, but this twice in a row here. When you find something like that, why you like to go back to it until they find something that will stop it.
Lewis brings him up. Julian the up back. I'd look for it to go to Julian. This time it did go to Rod Julian, and he goes in standing up for the last 10 yards, and Julian takes it inside for the TD. That's at the 8:08 mark here of the first quarter, so the Hornets not wasting any time getting that first score on the board.
Yeah, they just picked up right where they left off last week. Is that again to be repetitious, a surge from that line and just put Fremont right back on their heels, and Rod did the rest.
Rod really didn't have anybody really lay a hand on him.
No, he really didn't. Not till he got to the end zone. By then, she's too late.
Schmidtman
with the kick.
And it's good. Right in the middle, and at the 8:08 mark, it's 7 Angola, 0 Fremont. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference Football on TV 7.
The first Fremont offers a glimpse into the past with its American heritage decor and warm, friendly service. Locally owned and operated, the First National Bank of Fremont is committed to the future of its customers and the Steuben County area. With 5 convenient offices, it's easy to get your full-service banking whenever you need it. Visit the First National Bank of Fremont and take a step into the past while planning for your future. Offices in Angola, Fremont, Orland, and Ashley Hudson. Member FDIC and an equal opportunity lender.
You know, down there. It's not his job description.
Back to action as Lash kicks it off. It's a good one deep all the way down to the 10. This time they do take the reverse, and it goes to back around the outside. He's skating upfield and picked up some decent yardage. Going to bring that one up to the 35, right at the 35, just across the 35 to about the 36-yard line.
Led by number 8, Ben
The one thing about that, Tom, is on a handoff like that, it's a little dangerous. You got to make sure that you get the ball, and again, on your kickoff team, you got to make sure that you stay in your alleys, because things like that's what happens.
Yeah, that could as well have been a fake that time, but he did a good handoff and got some pretty good yardage that time.
Made a nice play out of it.
Coming up this time will be Bach, brings them up. Gonna bring it into the line, and boy, there's just no place to go inside on that Angola line. That
just ran a little belly play there, trying to make a few yards. I'm sure what Coach Dilbone's trying to do is make a few yards up the middle, and then that can open it up outside, or fake up the middle and drop back and maybe hit a tight end over the middle.
Well, at that time they were going to do that. It looked like they were going to run that play action, pass into the line and then drop back, but handed it off inside. Gain of only about 1, so Fremont brings it up with 2nd and 9.
A little bit out of the wishbone.
New look at the wishbone here. Gives it to the second man through, but boy, the linebackers filling that hole. Baker, the ball carrier, and boy, just no place to go as the Angola linebackers filled that gap in a hurry.
In a hurry. Again, they're trying, what you usually do is make a few yards like that, 3 or 4, and have those linebackers commit and pull that ball out of the fullback's stomach and drop back and hit somebody over the middle or a down and out, something like that, for a few more yards.
Well, the inside linebackers, Julian and Hatton, and they really fill quickly. Outside they have Barry on one side and it looks like Lash on the other side, so you got some real fast-moving people in there. And in motion this time, this side, here comes the pitch, and going to turn that one in, and no place to go as the play was turned inside, and that's what you like to see. Your end gets out there and turns that play to the inside, and you rely on those big people on the inside to fill the gap.
That's the responsibility of the defensive end. If he doesn't get out and turn that play in, then that play comes to the near sidelines, and it might gain 4 or 5 more yards. If he turns that play in, that's his lone responsibility on a pitch like that, is to turn that play inside.
Hornets covered that one perfectly, so it's going to bring up a 4th down situation and an 8. Another punting situation for Fremont. It's a good snap. Angola's got the return on. It's a deep snap coming back this time to Bird. Bird loses his footing a little bit, gets a 1 step to the outside, but can't pick up that all-important block out there and turn the corner. So Fremont, another good high punt, good coverage, and Angola's going to take over on their own 30.
Nice tackle there by Justin Bach. Just wrapped him right up and wasn't going to let him go for anything.
Well, Fremont's done a real good job on the punting game tonight. They've driven Angola back. They've had great coverage, haven't allowed any real run-back yardage.
They, maybe one of the strong aspects of Fremont's game, that they can, if they keep pushing Angola back a little bit, make them drive a little longer and hopefully force a mistake.
Straight T this time. This time it goes to Hatton. Hatton tries to turn upfield. Can't find a whole lot of running room as somebody tripped him up on the inside. Looked like it might have been the tackle on the inside left side.
Like 67, Rich McCarty, I believe, just got his ankle there and tripped him up.
Good tackle, so only 2. Army's in, Barry's out. Hornets again going out of, this time out of a power I right. There it goes to Army out the outside, and if he gets 1 step, he could be gone. Fremont did a pretty good job of holding him in containment that time.
I think he may have even run up his blockers back there, Tom, a little bit. It looked like he had an opening, and he was just ready to accelerate, and he ran into a clog of about three players there. If he could have cut maybe back toward the near sideline there, he might have broken that one.
Well, that's the difference. Is, the people have to realize who's in there, because Barry follows the blockers, takes a slower pace, and Army's so much quicker, he gets there a lot faster.
Right. Maybe have to line up a little bit farther back than Mike does.
Mike takes it around the right side that time. Good enough for an Angola Hornet 1st down.
Mike did a nice job there. He stutter-stepped a little bit trying to follow his blockers, and he lost his blockers a little bit and then tried to find the hole, but he got enough for the 1st down, and that's the important thing.
Mike may be running just a little bit tender on that sore thigh muscle right now.
I'm sure he is. That way it keeps those fresh backs in there and those fresh legs, too. That makes a lot of difference.
Julian right up the middle, and boy, is he gaining some big yardage as they take him all the way up across the first down sticks as that line just exploded out of there.
Line exploded, and you had about 3 Fremont players as he just kind of strung along there, and he's a big, powerful young man.
Well, an Angola player down on the field that time, but you saw the people out in front of that play that time were both ends. Lash and Price both got out there and really led that play upfield.
I look like what we used to call at Hamilton, where you just almost get shoulder to shoulder and just go right straight ahead. We used to call that the old wedge play. Everybody just power right straight ahead, and that's exactly what Angola did that time. And when you've got that much bigger of a team, an overpowering team, you can do that all night, and eventually those gains are going to get longer and longer and longer as these younger Fremont young men get tired.
Well, Coach, with injured player, looks like he's going to get up now. It's Krebs. We were going to take a little break here, but Krebs is up right now and coming off the field under his own power. Bo just got his bell rung maybe just a little bit. It's like he maybe got punched in the eyes. Somebody got a finger or a elbow up underneath that face mask and that pile down on the ground, and Bo looks like he'll be back in the game without any problem.
You get down there in the trenches, why a lot of fingers and hands and feet and everything. Everybody's tugging and pushing,
reaching for a piece of the ball or a piece of the ball carrier.
Definitely.
So it's another first down for the Angola Hornets. They're on the march. 3:32 left to play here. They lead this one 7-0 in the first quarter. Handoff again inside. This time is Army, and Army is tackled down on the inside again. Getting up off the pile that time looked like Steele and Bach, I believe. Steele had him around the ankles and Bach got him high.
That time I thought Angola didn't get off the ball as well. It looked like Fremont had the little edge there. He still gained 5 yards, but again, part of that is due to that big bulk of that offensive line of Angola. Power eye right.
Bring it up here, second down. Here comes the handoff this time to Sutton as he's got some blockers around the corner and coming through. Big hit, and that's Bach again, doing pretty much everything right now for the Fremont Eagles, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
Did a nice job there. When you run a sweep, you're going to have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 linemen pull, and what happens is your back gets maybe a little bit too deep, and if you don't sustain your block quite long enough on the back side, why they'll catch you from behind. That's exactly what happened there.
Well, it's 3rd and long. Here's the pass pattern. We've got triple wide right side. And it's a handoff draw inside to Julian, and Julian powers the floor ahead, and looks like Julian's going to come up with the first down. So spread them out and then hand it up the middle, and that's where you got to pull those people from someplace when they trip wide right.
Trips wide there. Fairfield ran a little bit like that last week, only they had 2 people or a person wide on each side and ran up the middle, and here Angola had trips wide and gave it to him right up the gut and made a really nice gain. Put his head down there with about 3 yards to go until the first down and got the first down.
Julian, a very strong, hard runner.
Power eye left.
Sutton that time, straight ahead.
Got
pick up maybe about 3 yards on that.
Number 52, it looked like Tyson Johnson from Fremont there kind of messed up that play for Angola. Looked like he shot the gap and just kind of created havoc in there and threw off the timing.
Well, the Hornets haven't put it up yet. They're just really establishing this ground game, but I look for them to put it in the air here pretty shortly.
I don't think it'll be too long, but as long as they can grind it out. Right here it is. I guess it wasn't too long. Oh.
Just out of the reach of Lash that time, going down little out pattern on the outside, the right side, but Lash just could not get a hold of it. And
got a flag on the play. Holding, I would bet on the Hornets. Yes.
Looks like they're going to call up the Fremont captain. Baker's going to come up and talk it over, but I'm sure it's going to be a holding call.
Most of the time, Tom, that'll be on your interior lineman.
They got some pretty good heat from that backside, and that's where the flag came from. So somebody was trying to reach out and grab a piece to protect that quarterback.
Fremont may not have much size, but they do have some quickness there, and a lot of times in football, quickness will make up for the size and the strength. The question is whether the strength will outlast the quickness or not.
Well, that's going to bring it up back to second down. 1:12 left to play, first quarter, 7-0. Hornets lead this one, so it's going to be now 2nd and 17.
Looking over power right by the Hornets. Pitch right to Army.
Got Julian out in front, and Julian lays a big block down on the outside. Getting around the corner that time was Army. Picked up considerable yardage back on that one. They're going to spot it, looks like just at about the 31-yard line. So big pickup that time by Army. It's going to bring up now 3rd and 5.
Made a nice gain there. The back side of the line held their blocks very well and created that long run.
You get Julian out in front. We saw Julian throw some real blocks last week.
He sure did.
Pitch this side to Barry, and he's got Julian out in front again. Julian takes one. Barry cuts in behind him, follows it on up the field, and takes it all the way down inside the 20 to about, looks like it's going to be the 17-yard line.
Mike made a really nice cut there. There were two defensive men there, and it looked like they had Julian had eyes in the back of his head. He took one, and Mike out-juked the other, and he got about 7-8 more yards. Real nice run. If I saw Rod Julian coming at me, I'd probably fall down.
Well, Rod's put some real hits on the outside.
Well, last week there at Fairfield, he laid one on Mike's first touchdown, and he really leveled the guy.
Hand off inside again that time.
Again, very key thing there. They're grabbing at the ball a little bit. You got to wrap that thing up, especially when you are, as they say in the pros, in the red zone inside the 20. You don't want to lose it down there, not when you have momentum like this.
Mike takes it to the inside, and that's going to be the end of the first quarter with the score. The Angola Hornets 7, Fremont Eagles nothing. We'll take a break and be right back with second quarter action. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
At Baker Street Restaurant in Fremont, prepare to be treated like part of the family. With Baker Street's home-style cooking, delicious desserts, and special children's menu, your family will feel right at home. Breakfast is served 24 hours a day, and you can choose from several specials and an all-you-can-eat daily special. Every Friday night is fish night. For friendly service and a delicious home-cooked meal, bring the family to Baker Street Restaurant at I-69 and Baker Road in Fremont.
You never expect to file a claim on your insurance policy, but when the unexpected happens, it's nice to know you can count on the national company. Now's the time to sit down with Bernie White or Shirley Hansen, evaluate your policy. They'll guide you in the right direction for all of your insurance coverage services. For the quality insurance service you deserve, talk to Bernie White and Shirley Hansen before the unexpected happens. Visit National Company Incorporated, 111 East Toledo in Fremont.
Flag laying pretty limp at the other end, not much wind. Temperature's about right. Hand off this time to Barry, going around the left side, trying to get into the end zone, and he does. He dives over one of the defensive men on the ground there at the back side of the end zone and gets over at the 11:54 mark. Mike Barry takes it in for the Hornets' second score of this contest.
Again, not only Rod Julian out in front, but before he got out in front, you got some linemen there for Angola. Keegan and Brewster got out in front and turned those in, and Julian led them right up through the hole.
Schmidtman in to attempt the extra point. There's the snap, it's down, it's kicked, it's up, it's good. And the score now at the 11:54 mark here of the second quarter, the Hornets 14, Fremont 0. We'll be back after these messages. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
You'll find just what you need for your truck or van. Protect your truck with an easy-to-install soft-top tonneau. No drilling or snapping. The soft-top allows you easy tailgate access, and it's simple to remove. Deck sliders help you quickly get things in and out of your truck's bed. Great for carrying tools. We also feature an endless variety of accessories. Running boards, bug shields, bumpers, bed liners, and more. Everything you need for your truck or van is at Truck and Stuff and Lake Things in Fremont.
They don't know either?
Lash back, ready to kick it off, and there's the kick. It's a short one off the side of his foot, and it looks like they're going to let that one go out of bounds, and that's going to draw a yellow hanky from the officials.
Kind of looked a little bit like a top there, Tom. He sidewinded it right on the side of it and took off and almost corkscrewed right in the ground.
I hear the radio people referring to that as one of my shanks. I played with the radio personality the other night at Tri-State, David Ballinger, and you talk about hacks and shanks. I mean, I never saw anybody hit it so bad. I mean, he hit the ball so bad, I had never seen anybody hit it that bad as he did this week.
Oh, he's probably saying that.
He made so much fun of me last week after they grubbed us pretty good over there, but I got even this week.
Well, did he buy you dinner like you had to last week?
He bought refreshments.
Well, that's at least something.
And
anyway.
a hot dog. I did get a hot dog out of it.
Well, that's pretty good for David, if I know David.
Yeah, he's a big spender.
Yes.
Well, that's going to bring up looks like they're not going to re-kick it. They're going to take the ball, take the penalty and the ball at that point.
They used to, I was going to say, yes, you have the option whether you want them to re-kick or take it at the 35-yard line.
Fremont figuring that they may not get any better field position than the 35, so they're going to take the ball first and 10 from their own 35.
Yeah, and Angola up 14-0 just as the beginning of the second quarter, and again, I believe their size is starting to tell just a little bit already.
Looks like they're going to open it up here. They got some men split to each side here. They're going to bring it back. They're going to pass. It's going to be a short one, taken for a completion out there on the outside. On the outside, that was Warman. Mike Warman. Mike's sometime quarterback, sometime running back, senior, 5'10", 156. Fremont completes their first pass of the contest, picks up a long 4 on that play, so it'll bring up a 2nd and 6.
Just to feel Angola out a little bit, probably going to run some short down and outs, maybe some down and ins, and then sometime maybe go long if he can get the time. Still in the wishbone.
Going to drop it back to pass. Going to throw a little screen out there, and almost getting through that time is that little looper as the end crashed in and made him loop that one up a little high, and Mike Berry coming through there almost got his hands on that one.
Yeah, I believe he read it there the way it looked, Tom, but he just couldn't react quite quick enough. One of two things would have happened. Either he'd have gone to 6, or if Chad would have caught that pass, I'm sure Mike would have just really leveled him. Makes it 3rd down and 5-6 to go. I'd look possibly for that pass they just threw, a down and out, or the 2 plays ago, possible draw.
Same arrangement as before. Now they got to put a man in motion right. Going to try to take it up the middle. Looks like no place to go up the middle that time as the Hornets middle linebacker, that's Nathan Hatton, getting up out of that stack. Stacks Bach up right at the line. It's going to bring up a 4th down and about 4 yards to go. So another punting situation, you would assume, for the Fremont Eagles.
Coach Dillbones at times does the unorthodox. You know, nobody expected anything like that, and he got 2 or 3 yards out of it. So he's known as doing some different things.
Over the punter's head, and this is going to be big trouble is trying to recover that when the punter falls on it wisely back there as the ball was centered high. And when that happens, we saw that happen last year, unfortunately, to the Angola Hornets in the playoffs in the regional game. Had 2 of those that cost them the victory over Griffith in that regional game. So it can happen at any time to any team. We've seen it in the pros, you've seen it in the college, you'll see it here in high school. So big break for the Hornets, puts Fremont very deep now in their own territory at about the Fremont 16.
Special teams, a big part of football.
Power I, Army deep. Pads off his to Army. He's got a man out in front,
nice tackle.
Nice tackle coming through that time. Knifing through was Steele, I believe. Steele shot from the linebacker spot and got through there very quickly.
Right. He found just as an offensive runner does, defensive linebacker like that tries to follow the play and find his crease and go for the ball carrier and sniffs him out and made a very nice play.
Somebody missed an assignment on the inside there. The steel came lumbering through there.
Power eye again.
Coming at it. There it goes the other way.
Nice
Army this time
hole.
takes a hold of the outside, and he's very quick. He's going to slide to the end zone on the outside as Ben Army really cut that one back across the grain, cut out the outside, and just outran the competition into the corner of the end zone at the 9:34 mark here of the second period. The score now 20-0 in favor of the Hornets.
Again, that left offensive line, especially Josh Keaton, turned his man in, and the hole was there, and he was off to the races.
Now the Hornets going to line up this time. Up, they're going to kick it again. I thought maybe they were going to line up for two, but they're not. They're going to kick it. Schmidtman snaps up, it's down, and there's the kick, and it's good again as Schmidtman really got some leg into that one, getting into it more and more each game. 21-0, the Hornets lead this one. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
To get the most from your golf game, you need the right equipment. Equipment that is tailored to your individual game. That's why we build clubs with Dynacraft club heads, shafts, and grips. Dynacraft golf clubs are built by hand by our skilled club makers. Through individual fitting and precise club assembly, our Dynacraft golf clubs are custom built to the highest standard of quality at prices you can afford. Call or stop by to see how Dynacraft golf clubs can help your game, because your game deserves the best.
Lash back to kick off for the Hornets one more time. He gets a leg into this one, and there's a long, deep kick coming all the way, taken at about the 11-yard line. Coming upfield, looking for a place to run, and no place to go. Is down on the outside is Chad Baker, as Baker took that one, was looking for any kind of running room, but the Hornets did a pretty good job of closing that one down on the outside, holding it to a short gain, and they're going to start from their own 23-yard line.
Nice tackle there by Easy Spears. Kept his lane and wrapped his arms and gave Chad no place to go.
Spears last week, we saw him get down along with Ben Army very quickly, made some nice tackles at Fairfield.
Again, special teams, very, very important. On the kickoff, you want to keep your opponent down in there as far as you can, so they have to drive a long ways and try to force a fumble.
Hornets not doing as much blitzing this far in this game as they did last week. Here's going to be looks like it was going to be a pass or maybe a design quarterback draw, but no place to go as he ran right into the host of the line and finished off by Mike Berry.
Looks like he might have missed his handoff to a quick hitter, Tom. Either that or he was going to run the option. We really couldn't tell there. Anyway, the penetration of the Angola Hornet line just gave him no place to go, and he had to reverse his field.
Gain of 1 on that play, so Fremont will bring this one up. It's second down and 9. 8:29 left to play here in the first half.
Again, I'm sure Angola not blitzing near as much because they understand, I believe, that Fremont is pretty well outmanned. Although here comes Rod Julian.
Outside, and good hit out there on the outside as he was covered very quickly. Down on the bottom of that pile, getting up, I believe, was number 56, Norm King for the Hornets, and then the linebackers came in and finished it off. So good gang tackling that time by the Hornets.
Rod Joy there more or less on a delayed blitz. You count maybe 1,001, 1,002, and then you shoot for the quarterback. And with his speed, why he was right on the quarterback just as he threw it.
A lot of heat. Nevertheless, a completed pass for the Eagles. Not much yardage gained, however, and if you're going to give one up, I guess the Hornets would like to give that one up all day long.
Definitely. 2 yards, they'll let them have it.
In motion. Bigger, and with that motion,
I believe Fremont moved on the other side there. Looks like the tight end.
There was some movement, and I didn't tell whether the Angola jumped with the motion man or whether the Fremont Eagles jumped, but the Fremont's going to move back, and so there was movement by the Fremont Eagles.
Again, that's that staggered count or a quick count that trying to draw Angola off sides there, but it kind of backfired on them. As the season progresses, however, they will get better with that.
And with that, we're going to have a timeout on the field. The score 21-0. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
The First National Bank of Fremont offers a glimpse into the past with its American heritage decor and warm, friendly service. Locally owned and operated, the First National Bank of Fremont is committed to the future of its customers and the Steuben County area. With 5 convenient offices, it's easy to get your full-service banking whenever you need it. Visit the First National Bank of Fremont and take a step into the past while planning for your future. Offices in Angola, Fremont, Orland, and Ashley Hudson. Member FDIC and an equal opportunity lender.
Angola, or Hamilton's playing Northrop in soccer tonight at home.
They're playing Northrop? What happened? I see they counted Elkhart Baptist.
Elkhart Baptist used to be here, they said a couple years ago, they weren't good.
What happened was the HSA said that they
Back to action. Fremont has it 3rd down and about 13 to go. Man in motion this time is Baker. Ball's pitched out and it's fumbled. It's loose in the backfield. It's still loose on the ground and fighting for the ball down there. It looked like Steele may have come up with it.
And the best thing you can do when that happens, if you're on offense, don't try to pick it up. Just fall on it. At least you still have the ball. If you lose 10, 20, 30 yards, just fall on it. Don't try to pick it up.
Still going to have a chance to punt it away.
Right. And again, anything can happen on a punt.
about 23 at about the Fremont 10.
Fremont backed up now. Their own 10-yard line is going to be up a 4th down.
Field position, again, very big. They're just backing them up, and with this punt, they ought to get very, very good field position. The Hornets should.
Centered high again. Here comes the rush. It's partially blocked, and it's going to be caught by somebody from the Angola sideline right at the line of scrimmage. And there was a big one as somebody got through and tipped that one.
Like 64, Travis Ice, I believe, was right there. Either he had it.
Hatton's getting up a little bit slow out there. It looks like Nathan might have got shaken up a little bit on that one.
Maybe it was Chris Brewster that was right there on the play. They've got the ball right there on Fremont's, I believe, about 7-yard line. When you have to drive that far, that makes it rough on the defense. They've been out there a long time.
Well, we said anything can happen on a punt, and right there we showed you one of the things that can happen. It got it blocked. Julian right up the middle, driving, taking 2-3 people with him. Takes it right down very close to the 5-yard line.
Julian, tackle made by number 45, Benji Steele, and other Eagles.
So they're going to mark it maybe just across the 5-yard line. It's hard to tell from this vantage point, but it looks like it's going to be just across the 5.
Maybe about the 2 or 3, maybe.
With that, Fremont's going to call a timeout, so we'll take another quick timeout. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
When it's time for a new TV or appliance, see the professionals at Sanborn's TV and Appliance. You'll find 18 major brands of TVs and appliances to choose from, and people who really want to help you find what you need. Maytag, Amana, GE, RCA, and more. As the area's largest independent TV and appliance store, with over 22 years in business, Sanborn's has thousands of satisfied customers. Sanborn's will stand behind the products with their own in-house service department. So let Sanborn's help you save money today.
For a JV football contest that will also be on Wednesday. Next Friday night, the Angola Hornets travel to Garrett to take on the Garrett Railroaders in a key NECC large division football game. That contest slated to begin at 7:30. Okay. The Hamilton Marines are taking on the Norfolk Bruins in a crucial North Corner athletic conference.
Angola has it, 2nd down inside the Fremont 5. There's the snap, the handoff to Julian. He drives and just comes up a little bit short of the goal line as a surge from the Fremont defense led by, looks like John Gannon, got in there and held Rod from out of that end zone. And Gannon made a good hit because Julian, driving very hard, gets his legs up very high as he comes into that line, and Gannon did a good job of putting the hit on him there.
Did a nice job, stood Rod right up and didn't let him lean right across that goal line. It's 3rd and 1.
Julian this time, and there's the old hurdle into the end zone. Looks like Wham Bam Sam Cunningham over the top as Julian takes it in. for the score. It's going to bring the score up now as the Angola puts another one on there at 27 at the 5:31 mark here of this first half.
That Sam Bam makes me weep, Tom. He did it to my Buckeyes one year in the Rose Bowl and just made mincemeat out of him.
Right over the top, and if you got a lot of speed and can get up pretty high, but you know, you see the pros anymore, they don't try much of that anymore a lot of times because those linebackers are so much bigger and stronger than they used to be. They can really get up over the top with you.
They're waiting right there head on.
Once you leave your feet, you're a pretty easy game in that air.
Yes, you are. Plus landing on that tartan turf also, AstroTurf.
Schmidtman with the kick, a little trouble with the snap, but Schmidtman puts it through, makes it 28-0 at the 5:31 mark here. Coach, you know, the Hornets have again this week demonstrated that the defense can put the offense into some very good situations. The offense has, in the first quarter had to do most of the work, but here in the second period, the defense has really put them deep into Fremont territory.
That's, you know, your offense and defense always goes hand in hand, and the defense has dictated basically this second quarter with the bad snap. They held them down there, and then with the partially blocked punt, why they've dictated it and made basically two easy scores for the Hornets.
Well, Ben Lash back to kick it away one more time here for the Hornets. Lash gets a foot into it, and he misses this one again. It's a little squib kick. It's knocked down and covered on the outside over there on about you're going to spot that one if I can pick up the yard marker here. It's like the 35.
I believe so.
35-yard line. So Fremont again starting from their own 35, and that's been pretty much their starting position throughout this ball game.
That was another one of Ben's top balls there. It kind of corkscrews into the ground, and again Fremont made a nice play there. Again, just fall on the ball, and a ball like that with it being oblong, it can take some pretty crazy bounces. So he did a nice job of just recovering the ball, and now they have it with a wishbone at the 35.
Coming to the outside, no place to go that time as another mix-up. It looked like maybe in the backfield. And covering that on the outside, boy, Angola did such a good job of getting through there with the penetration. There was just no place to go.
Yeah, that play was not well designed from the get-go. Looks like part of the line went and part of them didn't, and part of them missed the snap count. And if one or two guys miss their counts like that, why, you can see what happens.
Well, with that, Fremont's going to take a timeout, so we'll take another timeout. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV7.
Today, more than ever, it's important that you get the Convacare story before you rent or buy hospital equipment to use in your home. Recent changes in Medicare regulations will affect you and your loved ones, so let our home care consultants help. We'll file your claims promptly and accurately, assuring that you receive maximum benefits from your health insurance program. Call or visit one of these healthcare consultants today.
Visit Crowlister Pharmacy on the public square today.
Fremont brings it up 2nd and 11 at their own 35-yard line. Handoff coming on the outside and running that time with the ball coming out on the outside. Pick that number up. Steele that time runs into Mike Berry on the outside. So Steele picks up maybe 1 yard, so it's going to bring up a 3rd and a long 10.
It looked like that he broke the initial crease there, Tom, and then Mike and the rest of the linebackers just kind of swarmed all over him. No pun intended for the Hornets. 3rd down, 11.
Hornets going with those just 2 down linemen, and here comes Julian, and there's another fumble, and the Hornets looks like they're going to fall on this one. See who gets the recovery over there. I can't see who got that recovery on the outside for the Angola Hornets. May have been Hatton.
I missed his number. I thought I had it and couldn't see it.
Looks like it might have been Price or Hatton, and I couldn't pick it up on the outside.
Again, I believe the quarterback saw Rod coming in there and threw on his pitch. It was a little bad pitch, but again, as we said last week on the backs, if you touch it, they say if you touch it, you're supposed to catch it. And the first step of the back there is to catch the ball and then turn upfield. I believe he's trying to turn upfield before he caught the ball, Tom.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I couldn't see where the pitch man was. There's the pass wide open outside is Price, and just out of Jared's reach is a little play action, and Jared, the outside people turned their head and bit on it just quickly and laid it up very high there right to Price and just off his fingertip.
Great play call there. I believe if Jared would have extended his arms there a little bit, it looked like he had his hands at about a 45-degree angle, put those little pinkies together and reach out. He's got a long frame. That'd have been 6.
I'm sure Jared's going to see that one again in his sleep tonight.
I would imagine so. Power eye by the Hornets.
Power eye, Army this time with Julian out in front. Julian makes a nice block, and there goes a flag, and flags come from everywhere, and it would have been a touchdown, but looks like they're going to either get a clip or a holding. It's going to be illegal use of hands. Somebody got the hands out in front, and that's going to be a penalty on the Angola Hornets. They're going to bring him back.
I don't want to incriminate anybody, Tom. It looked like it might have been number 71, Nagel. I'm not sure, but you know, in a sense, if you look at that play again, those of you that want to play it back, if you watch how far the Hornet linemen were downfield on that block, if that was Nagel, I know he was at least 8 to 10 yards downfield when he made that block. And on a penalty like that, you hate to see that, but boy, oh boy, when your linemen get down that far, that's great.
There was a big wall coming around that corner that time.
Great pulling there, or great, pulling guards there, or tackle, whichever one pulled there.
I'd look for him to come right back with it. Finds Price coming across, and boy, everybody that time strung it out. Fremont did a good job of stringing it out, but Price, waving those big arms and running to the open spot, gave him a place to throw it.
He's a big target, but I'll tell you what, when he went to make his break to the outside, I thought the official might see it. The Fremont player, I believe, grabbed his jersey, because you see Jared pulling away from him. He didn't get it, but he still caught the pass, and we got about a 3rd and 7. Maybe 6.
Power eye right this time. Buried deep in the eye. Julian and Hatton in front. Bootleg again. He's going to throw it back. He's got a man wide open out this side. That's Lash, and Lash is going to take it in for the score. Great job of hiding that ball by Matt Lewis. Just held that ball underneath as he faked. Everybody faked to the left side that time, and Lewis just kind of rolled it this side and found Lash going out to the corner.
Again, a nice fake. I think Fremont thought that Lewis had it, but they couldn't get to him, and he laid it out there for Ben, and he caught it. From then on, why, it was 6 points.
The 2:46 mark here of the second period. Schmidtman in. Kick is away, and it is good. No, they're going to say no good. I thought they were both signaling up, but I guess not. So must have been off wide to the right. So that's going to leave the score at 34-0 with 2:46 left to play here in this first period. We'll take a quick break. This is Northeast Corner Conference. The other day on the golf course. This is getting even, by the way. I mean, that was what you call a real ugly shank.
That was definitely a shank.
That was he takes his eye off the ball and wants to look where it's going to go before he hits it. And Lash just looking up or looking away from that and shanking it right off his foot. It did not go the required distance. Now the officials are going to be in a real huddle here to see what they're going to do, but it should be Fremont's ball, I believe, there's from that point. So it's going to be first time Fremont's really penetrated across the Hornet side of the football field. That's at the Angola 45-yard line. So Fremont here with a chance to put some points on the board here before halftime and go in with maybe a little better feeling about the first half if they could put some points on the board.
That'd be a big plus for them if they could even get a drive going, Tom.
There's Julian, and there's the pull away from the center, and we'll see who came back up with that one, but I think they're signaling Fremont's got that one, as the quarterback may have pulled out a little quick as he saw Julian getting ready to make that sprint right up the middle, and that's really makes you very nervous. We saw Fairfield last week very nervous in that situation.
Mike Warman there with the heads-up play. I was going to ask you, Tom, when David shanks like that, is the golf ball, does it go that far, 10, 12 yards?
No, it never goes that far. Usually sideways a lot farther than that, but never forward that much.
I can understand that, because that's the way a lot of mine go too. Power or wishbone by the Fremont Eagles, 2nd and 10. Oops, somebody missed an assignment there, I believe. The carrier went one way and the handoff man went the other.
Boy, was he hit immediately that time. Norm King just whacked him, and Brewster just come in and to finish it off. And I tell you, there was a big hit. You could hear that all the way up here as he really got a piece of him there.
He heard the pads and the helmets crack on that. Makes it 3rd and 15 for the Eagles. 1:20 left in the half.
We'll try to pick up some stats at halftime, so we'll have them to start the second half here. But Fremont definitely in minus yardage here in the first half.
Again, the Angola defense just dominating both sides of the ball right now with that experience and the size that they have over the Eagles.
Off the ball very quickly that time, and Fremont did a pretty good job of getting off the ball that time.
They did. Coach Stillbone is known sometimes. He's had a lot of small, quick linemen before. I believe he had a pair of twin boys a few years ago that played guards for him, and they weren't maybe 150, 160 pounds. But boy, they were quick off the ball, and they did an awfully nice job.
Warman that time got to the hole very quickly and picked up some yardage.
If they can get a little surge there and possibly push the Hornets back a little bit, runs like that can break into 12, 15-yard gains and give them a little momentum here with less than 20 seconds.
I would look for a fake here. No, maybe not. He's going to punt it away. Nice high kick coming down to Bird. Bird's going to come this way with it. He gets one block, but he can't get a block from the backside. Is coming very quickly on the backside with good coverage that time.
Tackle made by number 4.
Steele again. Steele has been around that ball pretty much all night long, along with Justin Bach. Done pretty much all the tackling for the Eagles here tonight.
Again, Benji did a nice job there. He stayed in his lane until we knew he had it.
With that, that's going to end the first half of play with the Angola Hornets leading the Fremont Eagles 34-0. And Coach, it's been a real big half again for the Hornets offensively and defensively. And Fremont's going to have to go in and look for something out of their up people here on the top of the press box and say, well, where can we maybe find a seam in this defense?
They haven't tried a whole lot of different things, Tom, like we thought they might. Maybe the inexperience has something to do with that, but they know they're basically outmanned, outsized, out-experienced, and you just go with what possibly you think might go.
Well, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back with second half action in a little bit. This is Northeast Corner Conference Football on TV7. Along with John Dutton, ready to start second half play here. Get this straight here. Second half play between the Angola Hornets and the Fremont Eagles. Angola currently leads this one 34-0 as we get ready here for the second half kickoff. Angola's going to have the ball.
That's just exactly probably what they wanted, Tom. They can run their offense some more. It seems like they've been on offense a lot of times tonight, or quite a bit, but they've been getting the ball so deep in Fremont territory that they'll run 3 or 4 plays and they score.
Coming down, this time looks like Sutton, the up man's got the ball, and he makes one move up the field. No, it was not Sutton. It was number 26, Easy Spears, the up man that time, got the ball. Took it straight up the field. Didn't really have much time to wait on blockers that time. It was a low-line drive, and that's what you want your up man to do. If he gets that ball, is take it upfield as far as he can get it before he gets hit. That time he's going to bring it all the way up to the 40-yard line of the Angola Hornets, so we'll start in good field position.
Run north and south where you get that ball, run straight ahead. See what they come out with.
I this time. Up the middle that time and no place to go as the up man got the ball, Julian. And Fremont doing a good job of shoring up that inside that time. Getting up off the bottom of the steel that time, and Huffnagel, the tackle, down on the bottom of that pile. So loss of 1, so the Hornets come out first play and lose 1 yard. So Fremont maybe made some adjustments. The Hornets may have to make some back the other way here, but good job that time with the Fremont Eagles.
Sometimes when you have a big lead, Tom, it's hard to come out and get warm and get fired up for those first few plays, but I'm sure Angola will hopefully try to stem the tide on that. Nice block.
Nice block to the outside. Good move by Army, and taken down into the Fremont territory at the 35-yard line was Ben Army, and Ben Army picked up some pretty good yardage. Ben had 48 yards in the first half, Julian 41, and Barry 58. So right there was a big chunk more for Ben Army, as he's starting now to push on that 100-yard mark for this game.
Again, another nice, a couple nice blocks there by Rod Julian. The first one, he kind of shed the blocker and went on downfield and kind of led Ben right on down the field, another 10, 12 yards.
Power eye again. Army with the ball, cuts the outside, waits for a block by Julian, cuts in behind him, picks up some more big yardage all the way down to the 20-yard line. Should be enough for another first down, so Army picks up 15 more yards on that one. So Army now really putting the yards on the board here in the second half.
Same thing, almost the exact same identical play there with Rod leading the play, but again, that offensive line with that surge just putting Fremont back on its heels, and the backside of that line keeping those backside linebackers and defensive end off the ball carrier also.
Sutton out very wide left, and he's very quick, and back to pass this time, going deep down to his Temple in the corner of the end zone, and right through Temple's hands. He was open, and boy, Matt Lewis laid that ball right in. As Andy Lewis is in there. The Lewis boys switch around, and that's the first we've seen Andy. Andy comes in, and Andy's a little bit taller than Matt, gives a good look over the defense. He's only a sophomore, 6'3" and 170, and he can really put a spiral on that ball.
Made a nice throw there, just out of the reach there. They've been switching back and forth here the last couple plays, Tom.
Trips wide, and Nessonier's going to be thrown in, and Andy throws that one right into the hands of the Fremont defender. Coming up with that one's Chad Baker, so the first interception is he had trips wide right, and man turned in, but Baker stepped in front and took the ball.
Made a nice play, Chad did. He watching the quarterback's eyes and stepped right in front of the intended receiver, and the Fremont ball on the 14-yard line.
Well, we haven't had another look at a second quarterback for the Hornets. We know that Hatton has taken some snaps. He was a quarterback, moved out to running back. But Andy shows a lot of promise, and he can really throw the ball.
It's always good to have at least two quarterbacks in case something happened with especially your starter.
Handoff coming to the outside is Steele, and no place to go as the front wall for the Hornets that time turned it to the outside. Ellison down on the back of that one. Hatton in on that tackle.
Travis Ice, I believe, was in on that one also. Makes it 2nd and 12 with a loss of 2 for Fremont. 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Fremont still running some very basic plays, trying to find a crease in that Angola defensive line, but so far there hasn't been very many creases to run through for Coach Stillbone's Eagles.
Handoff up the middle that time, and a lot of movement inside on that play that time by the Fremont Eagles. I'm afraid we're going to get a penalty on the inside.
I believe that, and will go on Fremont. The one halfback, I believe, moved. A lot of times, Tom, sometimes what'll happen if that halfback moves and takes a step forward, if he can think fast enough and go in motion, then that will not be a backfield in motion. The legal procedure is declined. Make it a 3rd down and 10 for the Eagles. Again, Angola dominating the inside of that, or the interior of that line. First half, Fremont had this about same distance to go, and they had a down and out to their tight end. Let's see what Coach Stillbone has.
Bach brings him up, man in motion this side, and it's going to be a pitch to the outside, as getting through that time was lineman for the Angola Hornets, somebody shot the gap that time, got into the backfield, but he did get the ball away, but not much of any place to go, and it's going to be another loss on the play.
Fourth down and about 13.
Again, that pursuit, the first tackler missed him there. It was either Travis Ice or maybe it was Chris Brewster, shot the gap, and he slowed him down enough, and there's about 3 or 4 more of the Hornet defense made the tackle. Makes it 4th and 15. Fremont's going to have to punt here with about 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Bird the up man, Army the back man, and Fremont's going to call timeout. It's a little
I believe they were a man short.
exception out there. Yeah, they were 1 man short, and boy, you don't want to go up against Angola and punt 1 man short. So we'll take a quick break. This is Northeast Corner Conference football. Fourth down, long for the Fremont Eagles. Punt formation. It's a good snap. There's the kick. It's a high end over end kick coming down to the up man Bird. He's going to take it, try to get away on the outside, but good pursuit that time by the Fremont Eagles on the outside. Coming up with that tackle looked like Josh Panyard, the outside man, really did a good job of covering on that punt.
Fremont's punter there, Bobby Gannon, only a freshman, 5'8", 140, doing a nice job of punting, and I'm sure Coach Dillbones will be glad to have him back for 3 more years. If he's punting that ball that far now as a freshman, as he gets bigger and stronger.
That was into a pretty strong wind.
Yes, it was.
Wind pretty much coming out of the east right now. That flag down there standing out to the west. Hornets have the wind to their back. Matt Lewis back in at quarterback. Back to pass. Going to lay it down, and this one here's a very wobbly pass and almost intercepted by Panyard that time. He did have a man open down the outside. It looks like Scott Temple going down the outside was behind the defender, just underthrown that time.
Need to lay that up just a little bit higher, Tom, and have Scott run underneath that. He had a little bit too much of a flat trajectory.
Well, new quarterback in. Looks like Andy Lewis back in at quarterback.
Maybe he'll try to outdo his brother on the same play.
I formation. Quick one outside this time to Hatton, and Hatton takes it right off the line. Nice gain by Hatton, gets up very close to first down yardage.
Nice throw there by Andy, right on the line. Hatton just takes it about 2 steps and looks in, and the ball's there, right in between the linebacker and the cornerback.
It is a first down. 6:40 left to play here in the third period. Hornets on the drive. There's Andy coming to the outside, and a nice slant pattern that time to Jared Price. Coming in from the outside is a little bit low, and you don't want to throw that to Jared low. Jared Price very big there on the outside, and you want to get the ball up high to Price, and that time they just got it down a little bit low to him around his ankles. He's 6'4". You want to throw that up about 7 foot up in the air so you can reach up and pull it down.
So nobody else can get it. There was a flag came flying in there, Tom, but I guess they picked it up.
Might have been the bean bag.
That might have been it. Awful big bean bag.
Back to pass again. Price wide open over the middle this time, and Price very close to that pay dirt this time as Andy put that one right on the numbers to Price, and Price found a big seam there in the middle of the field.
Jared ran a very nice pattern there. He ran downfield about 6-8 yards and found the crease, came across the middle, and Andy found him, and a very nice play that was run there.
Hornets having a little trouble getting the play in as Lewis little new in there, but I would look this one to go to Julian right up the middle if I had to guess again. No, Andy Lewis is going to take this one on a quarterback sneak, and they're going to say Andy got in with it, and so Andy Lewis gets on the board here for the first time this year at the 5:36 mark here of the third period. 40-0, the Hornets lead this one. Schmidtman on to kick the extra point.
Again, safest play in football probably, Tom, the quarterback sneak when you're down there, and there's only basically 2 people that can mess it up, and that's the center and quarterback, but that surge put him right over the goal line.
Schmidtman on to kick. There's the center, it's down, and there's the kick. They're going to call that one good, and that's going to make it 41-0 at 5:36 left to play in the third period. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV. One more time. He keeps his eye on this one. It's a high end-over-end kick. It's going to bounce, fumbled, and it's going to go out of bounds, and it was touched by a Fremont player, and that's going to be a live ball, and it's going to be about the, what are they going to mark it, the 9-yard line, it looks like. That's going to be where Fremont's going to have to put it into play because it did bounce off a Fremont player, and it was live at that time, and it went on out of bounds.
Anything after 10 yards and hits the ground, why, it's a live ball, and unfortunately for the Eagles, I believe Chad Baker tried to pick that up and went through his hands and rolled out of bounds instead of on down the field. 5:34 to go here in the third quarter. Hornets up 41-0.
Much better that time kick by Lash. He really kept his eye on that one, and he had the wind to his back, and he really put a foot into it.
That helps, believe me, especially with the wind.
You don't want those to drop if you can keep from it. You want your deep people, as high as that was, you wanted somebody to catch that one and try to move it somewhat upfield, but Fremont let it bounce. Now we got a man split wide this side. See if they put it up in the air. And there's Julian coming through, and he got a piece of the quarterback and no place to go that time as Julian came knifing through from his middle linebacker spot.
Rod shot the gap there. There was a crease that opened up, and he went right in between the center and guard, and he had the quarterback as soon as he had the ball.
Julian going to come out. Replacement in for him. Fortunately for Bach that time, Julian only got a hand on him because if Julian could have laid the helmet on him, it would have been a real big hit.
That'd have been, yeah, Rod was pretty nice to him that time. Makes it 2nd and 10 for the Eagles.
A lot of young players out there for Fremont, and they're really getting a baptism here tonight.
Definitely.
Handoff that time, no place to run as Baker tries the interior of the Angola line.
Norm King on the tackle there made a nice tackle and wrapped him up.
Going to gain 1 as Hornets now are starting to really put in some substitution. Here comes Hatton out of the ball game. Julian's already on the bench.
As last week, Tom, these younger players for the Hornets getting some more baptism of fire here by getting into the action against the Eagles that will help them on down the line.
Coming into the game there is Matt Ellison, Paul Ellison's brother, transferred here this year from East Noble. He played for East Noble, I believe, last year. Going to be a pass fading back and a lot of pressure put on, but a good pass nevertheless is underway. But boy, the Angola outside just really covered that one. I believe that was on the outside, looked like Lash, and it was a completed pass. Maybe it was Price on the outside.
Looked like possibly was going to form into a screen, but Angola broke the interference down. Lash made a real nice play. Makes it 4th and 11 for the Eagles.
Punt return team on now for the Angola Hornets.
Again, the last time the Eagles were down here, the last couple times, they've had some trouble with the punt. One partially blocked and one high snap. Good snap that time.
Good snap that time. Good kick, but it was under a lot of pressure. Bird, the up man's going to take this one again, looking for some running room to the outside, but good coverage again by the Fremont Eagles. And I suppose that's one place that the Hornets are really going to look at this week is going to be that good coverage that Fremont's gotten down to see who's not getting the block so they can get some kind of return underway.
Definitely, and again, Fremont's kicker Gannon there, it might have been a low line drive, but he had to get that ball away quickly, and he did, and instead of partially blocked or a safety or a touchdown for the Hornets there, he got her out there to about the 35, 36-yard line, and now it's the Hornets on Fremont's 32.
Spread formation this time by the Angola offense. Goes right up the middle, and that looks like Nathan Hatton with that football.
Yeah, nice hole there by the offensive line.
Because Julian, number 42 and 12, I can't get the numbers from this angle.
The way they're going up through the line, it's just like a purple blur, Tom.
Purple blur. Same formation, back again. Julian this side, Barry the other side. There it is. that time it is Hatton, and right up the middle is Nathan Hatton, and he picked up some pretty good yardage all the way down to about the 5-yard line.
Nice hole there again by the offensive line. Excuse me, Tom. Nice hole by the offensive line, again between center and guard, and that not only the surge forward, but turning the players, the defensive line out so he can run right up through the hole. We have a timeout here.
Timeout on the field.
Officials
timeout. Evidently a equipment repair with. Oh, we have an injured player. I see across the field, and that looks like it might be Steele. On the far sideline, right over next to the Fremont bench. It is Steele, a little bit shaken up. Steele's been in on a lot of plays out there tonight.
Steele and Bach both. They've been offense, defense, special teams. They've been in everything, and those older players with more experience, you have to have those.
Matt Lewis brings them up. There's a handoff this time to Julian, and boy, look out, nobody's going to stop that freight train. It's a runaway freight train as Julian takes it into the end zone at the 1:40 mark here of the third period.
Tom, I don't think he was touched till about the 3-yard line, and he started at the 10. That's how big that hole was, and when he gets to the 3-yard line with a head of steam, it's going to be 6 points.
A lot of speed, Julian, and Rod not all that big, but Julian 6 foot 185, so with that speed, he's got some pretty good power. Another kick by Schmidtman is good. Brings it to 48-0, 1:40 left here in the third period. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference football.
Win the game like a 4 to me.
Flash ready to kick it off again. There it is, a deep kick coming all the way down, taken by the deep man that time, Baker. Baker trying to find some room around the right side. No room around the right side. Now he tries to cut it back, but swarmed under by a real host of Hornets there right at the 25-yard line.
Sometimes, Tom, players like their name said on TV or radio, but I'll tell you, when you have pursuit like that and you have gang tackling, that's what a coach likes to see.
We were told that was Hatton on the last touchdown. Again, we could only see the 2 on that, and I thought it came from Julian, and that it was Nathan Hatton on that last touchdown.
Looked like a 42 to me instead of 12, but I guess not. Eagles have a first down here on their own 25-yard line. Chad Baker being helped off the field right now. Again, Tom, I can feel for Fremont and their coaching staff. I've been on the short end of this, and playing those younger players against bigger, stronger, faster players of Angola, that's really hard to swallow, and at some time that's going to turn around and they're going to be those big kids sometime.
Not working with the numbers, again, the amount of players you get out, and a winning program gets more people out, and the Hornets have been real fortunate in the last couple of years. Straight ahead that time, no place to run, as with
Kaiser,
that ball
I believe,
was Kaiser, number 41, Jeremy Kaiser, ran into a front wall of the Angola Hornets, loss of 1.
But even those younger players, they're giving it their all, but you're running 125, 130, 140-yard backs, and you're running them up against 170, 180, 200-pound linemen, and that's really hard to do.
Only 8 seniors, I believe, out there for the Fremont Eagles, and boy, that the Angola out there, you count the number of seniors out there on the field for Angola, and it's pretty staggering.
That's a definite advantage.
Movement on the inside, the interior line that time as jumping.
Looked like Steve Stuck there, the left guard.
Stuck the guard, tried to beat the count.
And again, the same as last week, Tom, when you have those blitzing linebackers and you think your man's going to blitz or shoot the gap, you want to get there quickly, and that's exactly what happens.
New man out at the end on this side for the Hornets is Dave Heil. Travis Ice was the inside linebacker now on this side, taking Barry's place. With that, that's going to bring the end of the third quarter, 48-0. The Hornets lead this one. We'll be right back with more Northeast Corner Conference football here on
That'd give you the willies, doesn't it?
Welcome back to fourth quarter action. Tom Berry along with John Dutton bringing you all the exciting action of this Northeast Corner Conference football game between the Angola Hornets and the Fremont Eagles. Fremont backed up deep in their own territory at their own 19, has second down and 17 to go.
Does this score any indication of your golf game against David Ballinger,
It was
Tom?
just about that bad. I beat him just about that bad. Hand off on the inside, not much running room there as the Angola Hornets fill the gap very well. Down on the inside that time, big number 65 for the Angola Hornets, Rob Stoy. He's a junior, 6'4", 295. So the Hornets have got some real big people on the inside right now.
Huge, absolutely huge.
At 6'4", 295, that is like one of the Detroit linemen on the inside.
Definitely. Detroit, the Browns, the Bengals, anybody.
We were told that the Hornets could put a line on the field that would equal the Colts.
That's a lot of stake.
Third down, 16. Handoff on the inside, breaking a little seam there on the inside. As Fremont found some running room inside that time. Carrying the ball that time was number 10, Burkaw. Damon Burkaw. He's a junior, 5'7", 135, so not a lot of real big size, but you look at some of the Angola backs on the other side. Army's only 5'6", 140. Temple's 5'9", 160. You know, not a bunch of big people. Sutton, 5'8", 140, so there's not a whole lot of big people on either side. Some of the backs.
Especially on your backs. Damon's mother teaches with us over at Hamilton.
Fourth down, 12. There's the kick, a big rush that time. Little incidental contact. Temple picks it up, looking for a wall on this side. He's got a room. Temple picks up one more block, and he's gone, and just couldn't come up with the one last block that time as Scott Temple looked like he was going to break that one all the way up the sideline as there was a pretty good wall on this side.
Turned on a burst of speed there, and again, one guy to beat, but again, I didn't get the Angola player's number, was coming up behind that Fremont Eagle and did the smart play and didn't block him from the back on the clip. That Angola didn't score the touchdown, but they're on about the 27-yard line, and they could have been on the 42 or 43 if there'd have been a clip there.
Andy Lewis in that quarterback.
Julian
and Barry. Lewis back to pass, got some good time. Throws a long one down to the corner and fighting for it down there and intercepted in the end zone down there as fighting was with Temple was Josh Panyard, and that ball a little wobbly, a little bit underthrown, and that's one that you'll learn not to throw with unless he's got that one step beyond, and that time Panyard on great coverage on the outside.
That's one that should have been thrown, or should not have been thrown, but you know, that's where you learn. And I saw Coach Harter down here tell Matt that's all right, that you, or Andy, that's all right. That's, you know, that's where experience comes from. If he'd have thrown it longer, of course, it'd have been 6. But that's one that Panyard had him covered very, very well and intercepted it. And now Fremont's going the other way from their own 20.
Handoff inside this time, and we thought the ball carrier was downfield, but the Fremont line had a big surge downfield, but no running room that time. Was on the inside. The Hornet defense came up very quickly to snuff that one out. Let's see where they're going to mark it. They're going to move it forward, as Steele got some pretty good yardage then. After all, we saw Steele going backwards, and so he did pick up long 4 on that one.
After his initial surge, why enough Angola linemen got there, enough of them got and pushed him back, but he still had a nice gain there of about 4 yards. 2nd and 6, about 8:50 to go in the game. Bach brings him to the line. Wishbone.
Hand off to Baker that time, and Baker found some pretty good running room. It's like he's going to get up pretty close to a first down, and if it is, that's going to be first down for the Fremont Eagles, and I believe that's the first down of the ball game for the Fremont Eagles. That comes at the 8:36 mark of the fourth period.
Again, that says something for the Eagles. You know, when you gain 6-7 yards like that on a play this late in the game, why they're not about to give up. They want to drive and try to put something on the board. Got a helmet problem here. One of the pads maybe came out. Need to have those. I think Matt Ellison lost maybe an ear tab. The stats may not look as impressive this week, Tom, as what last week, but the Hornets are going to chalk up their second impressive win to go 2-0, and next week they're heading into Railroader country.
It's going to be a whole different game, as Garrett very strong this year, and the Angola Hornets had a little trouble with them in the Jamboree, but did gain some yardage on the ground, so it'll be an interesting game. Bach this time fakes it, tries to get back the outside, does now get some yardage to the outside, but the Hornets outside people did a pretty good job of staying at home and not biting on that fake.
Justin made a nice fake there and got to the outside and sidestepped one tackler and got a few more yards.
Picked up 5 on the play, so it was a pretty good run to the outside. Looked like he was in real trouble, but he scampered and got away and picked up some yardage.
Right. A lot of them say the one drawback from a wishbone is a very, very powerful offense, but if you get behind a touchdown or 2 or 3, it's very hard to come from behind because a wishbone is so time-consuming.
Very quick count that time as Fremont went from just the up position, basically. They didn't go down. They just got set in the up position and went quickly. But Stoy that time, not being fooled by that, steps in and tackles the ball carrier. And so it's third down and long 5 right now as Fremont brings in a couple more wide receivers.
Fremont just trying something, just a little different wrinkle, and maybe they can catch Angola off guard and maybe break along with, get another first down, something to get them closer to the goal line and put something on the board.
A lot of new people in there for the Hornets right now, and Fremont trying to take advantage of that. So there it is. It's a pitch wide. It's going to be a flea flicker, and this time it's intercepted by Temple. Temple to the outside. He's got a wall of Hornets. He could go up the sideline. He's down to the 5, down inside the 10, and into the end zone is Scott Temple with no flags on the play, and Scott Temple takes that one 45 yards for a touchdown, and Scott Temple, the big pressure put on up the middle that time by the Hornets. Would have been a good time to really eat that ball instead of throw it, but elected to let it fly, and Scott Temple, Johnny on the spot, picks that one off. And again, this week, the defense gets onto the scoring column for the Hornets at the 6:45 mark here of the fourth period.
Anytime a ball player has a hold of you, don't throw the ball, because that's what can happen.
On to kick that is Schmidtman. It's buried low, but it's through the uprights. And it's good at the 6:45 mark. 55 Angola, 0 for Fremont. We'll be right back. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
You'll discover a mountain of taste when you try the cool and crunchy Dairy Queen Peanut Buster Parfait. Or try the rich and creamy smooth banana split. Come taste the excitement. Dairy Queen, we treat you right.
Ben Lash ready to kick it off one more time for the Angola Hornets. End over end into the wind. A little short this time, taken at the 20-yard line. That's Steele. Steele bringing it upfield. The initial hit that time by Ben Army. Got a piece of him, spun him around, and then finished off by a host of Angola tacklers. Easy Spears also in on that tackle. So Spears and Army again, very quick getting downfield.
That's one of the keys to a kickoff team, Tom. Get that speed down there before those big backs can get ahead of steam and head upfield.
Fremont's going to start here, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line, and with that, Angola's going to call a timeout. They were short one man on the field, so we'll take a quick break here. This is Northeast Corner Conference football on TV 7.
There's a new idea in ATVs, the revolutionary Yamaha Timberwolf. The Timberwolf has built-in cargo vans that resist dents and rust. With a rugged steel subframe, they carry a serious load. But when the work is done, Timberwolf loves to have fun. Long travel suspension tackles rough stuff for a real sport ride. And Timberwolf has...
Fremont ready to go here. It's 1st down and 10 for the Fremont Eagles on their own 30-yard line. Little movement in the backfield that time. I didn't see a flag go down as the ball carrier gets up across the line. Carrying the ball that time was Jeremy Kaiser, number 41. Picks up 4 big yards that time, and looked like there might have been a little quick movement in the backfield, but I'm sure the officials by this time in the evening would like to keep that clock moving as much as possible, and it's not going to be real flagrant, or I don't think they're going to throw many flags.
No, sometimes that happens, Tom. I remember one year I was coaching, I was behind Lakeland 61-0 going into the 4th quarter, and both of us coaches agreed. We just kept the clock running on incomplete passes and penalties and everything.
Inside handoff that time, and a lot of big running room this time for another Fremont 1st down, and there's another flag going in.
Late flag.
Late flag goes in as the ball carrier that time, and we can't see the number from this side over here. Looks like it's going to be number 10,
Damon Burkaw. Yeah. Face mask on Angola.
Burkaw picks up a big gainer, another 1st down for the Hornets, and they're going to tack 15 more on the end of that, and I'm sure the coaching staff not going to be happy with the 2nd unit in there right now, as they really about the only 2nd penalty, I believe, against the Angola Hornets in this ball game.
It's been a very quick game, basically a very clean game, Tom. Damon made a very nice run there. It kind of turned to 180 and went the other way and gained some big yardage for the Eagles. They're on the march.
2nd man that time, and no place to run that time as a host of Hornets on the other side stopped that one for no gain. Looked like Kaiser that time, number 41, the ball carrier.
Again, Tom, there's pride on both sides now. Fremont wants to drive. They don't want that goose egg on the board. And on the flip side, Angola's defense wants to keep the goose egg on Fremont's side of the board, so we'll see what happens.
2nd unit gave up one last week over at Fairfield and late in the ball game in the 4th quarter, and I'm sure they don't want to do it again.
Definitely. They'll hear from the 1st team, I'm sure.
Handoff this
Burkaw.
time, a nice job on the outside, but a pretty good tackle put on out there on the outside. Getting up off the bottom of the stack that time, Travis Ice did a pretty good one-on-one tackle on the outside. So it's going to bring a 3rd down and 7 for the Eagles at the 4:22 mark here of the 4th period.
Damon's got some pretty quick feet there that he showed some promise there. He's a junior, so he has the rest of this year and next year to go. One other thing, Tom, is as we open the season here, I'll tell you, the field looks in beautiful shape. I walked out before the game, and they've really done an excellent job with it.
It's been a good year for grass and mosquitoes. There was a lot of both out there tonight.
Cool enough tonight, maybe we don't have any. There, Angola jumped.
Moving by the Angola line, that's going to cost them 5 more, so Fremont getting some help from the Hornets on this drive, and the offside now, and the penalty on the face mask. The Hornets have given up 20 yards here in penalties to the Eagles.
Good. Third and 2 or 3, and I'm sure Fremont's in 4-down territory here with 3:45 to go. Why, they're going to try to put her across the goal line. If they don't make a 1st down here, you know they're going to go for it.
Keaton back in. Heil comes out. Little movement, but no place to go there. Pitch to the outside, fumbled, and that's going to lose some yardage back to the 30-yard line. So another fumbled pitch that time by Fremont. They were very lucky to only come out with a very short loss on that play.
Andy Letke there just missed him there again, but he turned him inside, so he had to turn upfield. And again, that when the back comes out of the backfield, you must catch the football first, then look where you're going. Again, that could have been disastrous for Fremont as far as their wanting or ability to score, but they've kept the ball in 4th and 4. Just a little less than 3 minutes to go here in the game.
Keaton and Robinson getting through that time for the tackle, so it's going to bring up a big 4th down play for the Eagles right here. Going to the outside, keeping the ball, quarterback to the outside, and tripped up out there by number 64, Travis Ice, shooting through from his linebacker spot. Picked that play up very well and threw it for a loss, so the Hornets are going to put the offense back on the field.
Great quickness there by Travis, catching Justin from behind and tripping him up and actually losing yards. And, of course, now the Hornets take over, and probably their shutout is preserved.
Well, nothing's for certain till the fat lady sings, as they say. And
I think she's humming right now, though, pretty loud, Tom.
Well, the Hornets have the second unit offense in there right now. And with that, Fremont's a little disorganized over there, and they want to call a timeout. Back to action. Hornets have the football in Fremont territory at their own territory at the Fremont at their own 35. Handoff outside this time. New ball carrier Greg Smith. Greg breaks it to the outside. Going to pick up very short yardage. Going to be about 2 on the play. So bring up a 2nd and 8 for the Hornets. A lot of new people in there right now for the Hornets.
A lot of new people. A lot of younger ones, and the more experience that the Hornets can have here early in the season, the better it might help on down the line and into next year.
Andy Lewis hands it off inside. Broken big on the inside. That's Greg Smith again getting it up very close to first down yardage. From our vantage point, it looks like it's going to be enough for a first down, and it is.
Made a nice cut there just beyond the line of scrimmage, Tom, and carried him 7 yards and get the first down. We're down to 1:40 in the game.
This unit would definitely love to punch one down and get it in.
Brings him to the line, split backs.
That time heading to number 32, Andy Letke. Letke taking it up for a short gain of about 2 more yards. We'll give him 3 now. The spot is up very close to the midfield stripe.
Again, pride again on the Fremont side. They don't want to give up another one.
Now inside of 1 minute to play in this one. Lewis going to take it himself around the corner. He's got a blocker out front, and he's pretty quick. He's still running, trying to break it free, and takes it all the way down into Fremont territory. They're going to spot that at about the 27-yard line, and there's the old quarterback sweep around the end and just put everybody out in front, let them block for him, and Andy at his height covers some pretty good ground.
Andy says, you guys block for me for a little bit, and just takes the ball on a reverse pivot, and the backs lead, the tight end leads, and he gets as far as he can go. He made a nice 2nd and 3rd effort there, going down the sidelines. 30 seconds to go in the game.
Inside handoff, straight up the field this time, and finding some running room up the middle.
That's probably it.
Letke, I believe, that time takes it up. 22 seconds. The Hornets are going to get one. They want to get one more off. They want to score once more if they can. The second unit would like to get a score on the board. This will be the final play unless there's a penalty or it's an incompleted pass. 9, 8, 7, 6. Lewis that time hands it off. He's got a ball carrier on the outside. Looks like that was Smith. No, number 26. That's going to be Easy Spears to the outside, and that's going to bring the end of this one with the Angola Hornets coming out on top 55-0 over the Fremont Eagles. And Fremont, give them a lot of credit. Fremont did not give up. They went right out there and played right to the end of that ball game. So the Fremont Eagles not giving up tonight, even though they were on the short end of the stick out there. A lot of young kids and going against a bigger, stronger, more experienced team of the Hornets. You know, this is an outcome that's not all that unexpected in tonight's game.
Right. You know, the Fremont Eagles, their times will come. They've been on top there a few years ago. They went about 8-1 and played Jim down very tough. They're on a little bit of a down cycle here, but things will get better. They knew that they were outmanned and outsized, but they ran hard right to the end. And Coach Dillbone's got them circled out there in the field. Angola walking off with their second victory.
The Hornets very happy with this one, and that's the way it's going to end here at Angola tonight. Angola coming away with their second win of the season, 55-0 over Fremont. Well, John, it's been another fun game for us here tonight. Next week we travel to Garrett, where the Angola Hornets will do battle with the Garrett Railroaders. And Garrett tonight going up against, I believe, Central Noble. They lost last week to DeKalb, but we know that Garrett's very strong this year. Figuring to be the one of the two toughest teams, along with Angola in the they were West Noble, and I'll take that back, a West Noble. So that should be a very good game over there.
Yeah, and it's not going to be like the last couple weeks here, Tom, as we know and the people know that the Jamboree, they gave Angola all kinds of fits, but I know coaches Harter and Saylor and Cirque and Price and Gentry, I'm sure they're licking their chops to face the Railroaders, and it will be over there, and you fans need to turn out because that's going to be probably the premier game of the area.
Well, for John Dutton, this is Tom Barry saying see you next week for another Northeast Corner Conference football game here on TV 7.
well prepared, and that's always a big rivalry between us, and I know that Fremont takes that game very serious. So we were just glad to come out of it and come out of it relatively injury-free as well.
Well, pluses for your team last night. Thought Norm King had an excellent game for you defensively. He got a blocked punt early in the ball game. He made some good hits, got a sack or two, and he played an excellent ball game for you. And you might talk about the rest of that defensive interior.
Well, again, they're a good-sized bunch. I mean, you talk about Brian King out there at that other end. He's like 6'5", 195, 200 pounds, and a real quick kid. And then Paul Ellison, who has really been a 3-year starter for us at a down defensive tackle. Very quick kid. He's not a real tall kid or anything. He's a pretty tough kid to block, and very strong upper body. So Paul gave us a real good ball game last night. And then, of course, I mentioned Chris Brewster earlier. In fact, I think when the ball game started last night, our tackles made the first 2 tackles on defense, and really to some extent set the tone for us. And then when I finally get to Norm King really is probably out of the front 4. He is probably the best pure hitter that we have. I mean, when he gets there and hits people, he hits people certainly with an exclamation point. So we've been pleased with the way that that Norm has developed on defense. He's been a 2-year starter for us on offense, and he's been somewhat of a pleasant surprise for us on defense as well.
With that score 34-0 at halftime, Coach, what do you tell your team? We wondered what Coach Dilbone, of course, would tell his squad at that point, because it looked like they were not in the ball game. But what do you tell your team when you're up 34-0 and things are going your way?
Well, again, it's just to remind them of where we got to go. And the thing we reminded them about last night was the fact that we've got Garrett coming up this next week, and the point that I tried to make to them was that if we get in some situations, we wanted to throw the ball a little more in the second half. And I said we may very well find some situations where we're 3rd and 10, and we're going to have to work at that just as if we are playing Garrett, and that we have to pick up that 3rd and 10 situation. Because to be very honest, this team has not looked at a lot of negative situations so far this year. They've not been taxed in terms of field position. They've not been taxed in terms of 3rd and long situations where you had to convert them. So that was our primary focus, and plus the fact that you just remind kids to hustle and stay intense in the ball game. I've always had the belief that when you get hurt is when you forget about hustling, and that's pretty easy to do when you're out in front of somebody 34-0. So we wanted to have the kids stay focused and just try to execute as well as they possibly could execute.
Well, I know Tom and I can remember not that long ago that Angola was on the other side of some of those scores, 34-0, 45-0 at halftime. So, my opinion, let's just enjoy it and tell the kids to have fun. And it looks like that's exactly what they've done the first couple of ball games.
Well, I know, at least speaking for myself, Dave, I've really enjoyed the fact that, from my standpoint, I much prefer coaching a game like this than those 7-6 games, but I'm sure we've got some of those coming up this year.
Well, you know, you seem a little bit more relaxed this year to me. You know, we've seen you at times where we're not sure what was going to come out of your mouth when you weren't real happy at times, and I've enjoyed the first couple of games. How about you, Tom?
Certainly have, and Coach and I were talking before the game. You know, we scored 117 points and only given up 7 this year. We can remember years that we didn't score 117 points all season, let alone in the first 2 ball games. So, you know, you were talking a little bit about not being taxed. We haven't seen the punt team. We haven't seen that throw a 3rd and long too many times. We have not seen many 4th down.
Well, the coaching staff was sort of after me last week. They said if you don't do anything else, you got to punt. You got to punt this week. So I didn't realize that we didn't punt until after the ball game was over, and I said, well, we went 2 ball games without a punt. So we're ready to go with our punt team, and certainly looking ahead to Garrett. Garrett, over the last 2 years, I think we've played them pretty well. And one of our problems has been we've made some key turnovers in some key situations that have turned that ball game around. So hopefully those things are corrected, and I'm looking forward to that ball game, and it's certainly going to be a situation where we are going to get taxed this next week.
Well, the problems that we've talked about are certainly good problems to have, a punting game and things like that. It's just a refinement of a squad that's well experienced and so forth. So I want to remind everybody we're here in the showrooms of Harold Chevrolet. We tape on Saturday mornings, and if you're out driving around with nothing else to do, come on down and give us a hard time, or give Coach Harter a rough time, I should say. Stop by and see us. We're right in the main showrooms, and we certainly appreciate what they do for us here on the Coach's Corner. So let's take a break right now, and this is the Coach's Corner on TV7.
Chevrolet, Oldsmobile, Buick, Pontiac, Cadillac, Geo, and Chevy trucks. At Harold, we know what it takes to sell you a car or truck. It takes the lowest prices, great selection, and super service. New, used, demo, and program cars, vans, and trucks. When it comes to American-made transportation, see the good people at Harold. No big city pressure, no hassle. We make good sense and save you dollars. At Harold, you'll love our service. Stop in today.
Karma is now twice as cool. Angola's Music, Video, and Ticketmaster headquarters has added a second store just south of Fun Spot Park. Check out Karma's killer selection of hot movies and the latest video games for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis. Karma has an excellent selection of your favorite CDs and cassettes. And Karma's in-town store is Steuben County's only Ticketmaster outlet. Enjoy the summer with music, movies, and video games from Karma, Steuben County's Ticketmaster outlet.
Is it on? Today, Wendy's is happy to announce a great low price on a new old-fashioned single combo. It's a quarter pound of fresh beef, hot off the grill, made just the way you want it. Plus, biggie fries that are really big, and you get your favorite 20-ounce drink. Now, that's what I call a real meal. What's more, you save a bundle.
Try Wendy's old-fashioned single combo, just $2.99 every day.
Was it something I said?
The Harold Chevrolet Coach's Corner on TV7 is brought to you in part by Memories by Marie, J&J Menswear, IDS Financial Services Incorporated, C.A. Needle & Sons, Mitchell's Fine Men's Clothing, and by Antiques Conklin's Old Town Mall and Specialties Plus Annex. Welcome back. This is David Ballinger and Tom Berry along with Coach Harter, and joining us this morning on Coach's Corner are a couple of ball players, Coach, and they're a couple of your finest.
Well, we've been extremely proud of both of these ball players. They've made some very positive contributions over the last 3 years to our program. Matt Lewis has played a variety of positions. Last year he started out with the first ball game playing defensive end, and then I think it was in the Prairie Heights game, halfway through the Prairie Heights game, that we switched him into the starting role as our starting quarterback. And since that time, since Matt's become our quarterback, the only ball game we've lost to this point has been the Griffith game in the regional championship game last year. So Matt's really made a positive contribution to us, and Matt this year has even been switched back to the defensive secondary. He's playing a cornerback for us, and really has done a pretty good job back there. So he's a very versatile player. The other young man, Ben Lash, has been a 3-year starter for us on defense, played every year as an offensive tight end, and really catches the ball well. So far, this combination has hooked up each week. They've got a touchdown pass in both ball games. So we've been very pleased with their performance, and certainly Ben Lash, as far as an outside linebacker, has just played outstanding this year. He's been real tough to run against on the outside, and we hope that continues.
Well, let's talk to Ben Lash first. And Ben, my observations have been you're pretty quiet off the field, but on the field you seem to let some of your play do the talking with some of the hits you've made. Do you prefer, since you go both ways, do you prefer offense or defense, or are you equally happy on either side of the football?
I like offense better a little bit because I get to handle the ball some, but still nothing's better than making a good hit in a game. There's no better feeling.
Well, you've been on the scoreboard in the first 2 ball games, and that has to be a good feeling.
Yeah, last year I didn't really get a chance to score that much. I got some passes, but I just never was able to get into the end zone. This year, I thought I did a pretty good job of that.
Matt Lewis, of course, with the touchdown passes to you. Have you guys worked over the summer on some timing or worked together at all before the season started?
Yeah, we worked a lot. We have a conditioning where we come in and run, and we work a lot on our pass patterns and just getting our passes down.
Personally, as a player, what do you observe that you need to work on or improve upon as the season goes on here for the Angola Hornets to make the team a little bit better?
I'd like to make my defense a little better. I don't think I've hit as hard as I can so far in the games this year.
Well, that's bad news to you opposition fans that are looking out there, because Ben's had some pretty good hits in the last couple of years, so if he wants to hit a little harder, I'd be watching out for Ben. So Ben, hand the microphone over there to Matt, and I've known Matt ever since his Little League days, and normally a guy that hits 8th in the order, you'd say, is a weak hitter, but we used a lineup where we had 2 cleanups. He was our second cleanup hitter, and that shows you the kind of athlete he was. He had more RBIs in Little League, I think, than the top hitters. But Matt, you go both ways also, and what do you prefer? I'd assume it's offense, since you could a signal caller for the Hornets.
Yeah, I prefer offense to defense, but anytime I can play defense, I enjoy playing that too.
Well, putting a good hit on somebody is something that you can talk about the next day and talk about at halftime to the guys. Hey, did you see that? So I know that's a lot of fun. But Coach Harter has told us that he's very pleased with the way you have handled the team this year. And is that something that you are cognizant of as the season goes on, how you run the offense for the Hornets?
Yeah, I try and anytime where we have a little letdown, try and get in the huddle and try and get things going again and get them ready to play and get the intensity back up to where it needs to be.
Well, the Hornets haven't thrown the ball a lot last year at least, but this year it looks like that passing game has really come around, and I'm assuming that's something that you've worked hard on.
Yeah, I have problems though when I throw, I'm not stepping into the throw, but when I do that, when I do step into the throw, usually it's pretty good.
A little friendly competition at home these days, I see. Andy Lewis, the sophomore, got in to play quarterback last night, and I suppose you guys discussed that when you got home. You probably helped him out, I assume.
Yeah, helped him out a little bit.
Dave, I'd just like to interject on behalf of his brother. His brother comes to the sideline after he threw the second interception. He says, "I'm perfect on the night." He said, "I haven't had a pass dropped yet." So.
Well, I'm sure Matt will help him out on which color jersey that he's supposed to throw it to as he gets along in his career. But Andy, a fine athlete. Of course, their dad, Rick Lewis, was a great athlete down at Garrett, and we're glad that he moved up to Angola. I know you are.
Yeah, I'm very glad that he moved up to Angola. I'd hate to have to face Matt on the other side of the line, so we're very pleased with where they're living.
We're going to look at some highlights here in a minute, and we'll entertain your comments, guys. But very quickly, Matt, you've had 2 ball games here where the Angola Hornets handled the opposition very easily. But going into the season, all of us were anticipating this ball game coming up next Friday night against Garrett. What do you think you're going to experience next Friday night when you take on the Garrett Railroaders?
Well, it's going to be totally different than our first 2 games. They always come out and they hit you hard, and we'll just have to just keep the intensity up and just have to see what happens.
Well, that should be a great one. Let's go to the highlights now and see what we can come up with for you fans. We put together a good package here, I think. We're going to show you some defensive play here to start with. The Angola defense led by Ellison, I think, here, Coach.
Yes, he's playing a right defensive tackle. You see him make the solo right there. He got good penetration through the kid for about a 5-yard loss. So he really came off the ball in good shape there and got through in a hurry.
This is Mike Berry off the left side.
Yeah, we just set our power eye that way, and it's just a quick sweep. And Mike's been troubled with a little bit of injury this week, and we were glad to see Mike operate that well.
I think now we have Rod Julian coming up with a touchdown run.
Yeah, that was about a 10-yard touchdown run, and we like to use Rod in anytime we get inside the 20. He seems to have a real nose for the goal line, and he got in on that one.
And here's Ben Army, who hasn't seen a lot of action, but he looks good here.
Well, that's basically the same play that we ran to Mike Berry earlier, except we took it around our offensive right side.
Start the second quarter, a 15-yard touchdown run by Berry.
Again, that's just our off-tackle play. That's the play that we had the 92-yard run on last year, and or last week, and Mike looked real good on that.
Ben Army off the left side.
We were very, very pleased with Ben's quickness last night. In the 2 years that he's played for me as a varsity player, I thought he looked as quick last night and was as aggressive going to the goal line as any time I've seen him in the 2 years.
Here's some defensive footage. Mike Berry with the stop.
Yes, Mike playing that outside linebacker, and we've been talking to him for, well, ever since the season started. He's had a tendency to drop his head, and he kept his head up there in good shape and made a good hit.
Power football with Julian straight ahead. Looks like he went right up the middle there. And
well, we had a little bit of difficulty getting him across there, and finally on the third attempt he did make it.
Here's a fumble recovery by your defense, and we didn't see who got that recovery. You can probably tell us.
I think it was Norm King, but again, it was away from me, and I was sort of screened by it as well, but I think it was Norm King that picked up the fumble recovery.
We'll let our guest here tell us about this one. Lash with the touchdown pass from Lewis.
That's 44 bootleg, and that one's been open twice this year. Well, last week we had a little problem in the backfield, but everything worked out smooth this week.
And I don't quite understand how Andy Lewis comes in and gets a touchdown in his first experience here. But there you see that one. You're going to have to get on the coach there, Matt. You haven't got in the end zone, and here the youngster comes in and goes for it. Nate Hatton with a touchdown run, Coach.
Well, Nate, again, we gave him the ball 3 times in a row. I asked him after the second one if he was getting tired. He said no, so I think he thought maybe I was going to pull him out, so he went ahead and scored the third time, and it was a real good run by Nate. We haven't probably given him enough carries this year. And
it's not all good for Andy Lewis as he throws an interception there, Coach. We threw that one in there just so he doesn't get too big-headed about this.
Well, that's our alley-oop pass. I think he threw the ball a little bit short, but he threw a pretty nice ball there. I wasn't real upset about that, and the kid played the play very well.
Scott Temple with the interception and a touchdown, 45 yards.
Yeah, Scott had sort of a rough start against Garrett this year in the Jamboree and felt real bad. They threw a couple passes over the top of him in the Jamboree that one led, well, I think both of them led to scores, and so Scott was sort of down as a result of that, and I think that really served as a pick-me-up for Scott in terms of that play.
And the last highlight you see there was Damon Burkall with a run up the middle, which was actually the only play that was very successful for Fremont last night, so we showed you that one to show how tough the defense was and to give you an idea what the Fremont offense came up with. Okay, again, we're at Harold Chevrolet. We appreciate what they do for us to set us up here on Saturday mornings, and we're going to take a break right now and be back with some comments about next week's ball game, the big one at Garrett, and this is the Coach's Corner on TV7.
Chevrolet, Oldsmobile, Buick, Pontiac, Cadillac, Geo, and Chevy trucks. At Harold, we know what it takes to sell you a car or truck. It takes the lowest prices, great selection, and super service. New, used, demo, and program cars, vans, and trucks. When it comes to American-made transportation, see the good people at Harold. No big city pressure, no hassle. We make good sense and save you dollars. At Harold, you'll love our service. Stop in today.
Karma is now twice as cool. Angola's Music, Video, and Ticketmaster headquarters has added a second store just south of Fun Spot Park. Check out Karma's killer selection of hot movies and the latest video games for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis. Karma has an excellent selection of your favorite CDs and cassettes. And Karma's in-town store is Steuben County's only Ticketmaster outlet. Enjoy the summer with music, movies, and video games from Karma, Steuben County's Ticketmaster outlet.
Is it on? Today, Wendy's is happy to announce a great low price on a new old-fashioned single combo. It's a quarter a pound of fresh beef, hot off the grill, made just the way you want it. Plus, they eat fries that are really big, and you get your favorite 20-ounce drink. Now, that's what I call a real meal. What's more, you save a bundle.
Try Wendy's old-fashioned single combo, just $2.99 every day.
Was it something I said?
Welcome back to Coach's Corner. And Coach, statistically, we'll give you some numbers here. You had an excellent effort. Again, you're deep at running back, and I can't say enough about the job that Ben Army did last night, gaining 88 yards on 8 carries.
Yeah, Ben had a 11-yard average per carry. Mike Berry came back on 5 carries, had 60 yards, so that's pretty well for him. That's a 12-yard average as such. And so going with last week, I don't know what he was at, but he was about 15 yards last week or something. So we've been very pleased with both of those backs, and I think it was good. Ben didn't get to carry the ball much last week, so it was good that he got a few more carries in under his belt before we go into Garrett next week.
Of course, Julian with a couple of scores was a highlight, and don't want to forget about the kicking game. Schmidtman has done an excellent job kicking for you this year, and you might tell the fans a little background about that youngster.
Well, he's a German exchange student. I think we mentioned that last week, that came over from Germany, really didn't have much of an understanding about the game. We asked him if he could kick and explained what a field goal was, explained what an extra point was, and just set him over there and had people hold the football for him, and he's had like probably 20 different holders this year, and it just seems like each week it seemed like he was a lot stronger last week than he was the week before against Fairfield. So he's come a long ways, and real nice kid, just an outstanding personality and a great kid to be around.
Tom, any more observations on the statistics?
Well, we talked about 8 different running backs ran the ball last night for 260 yards on the ground, a total of 420 yards offense to Fremont's 38, so it's a plus 459 yards advantage over the night. It's pretty hard for somebody to overcome that, and like Fremont last night. It's just hard for them to get back in the ball game.
You know, we haven't talked a lot about this, maybe purposely, Coach, but state rankings. Your observations on state rankings. Angola Hornets, of course, mentioned among the best in the state rankings this year.
Well, Dave, I don't really get too excited about the state rankings at this point. I'm more concerned with what the state rankings look like at the end of the season, but I guess kids get fired up about that. I guess it does do quite a bit to fire up their fans and things. They like to hear the hometown team being ranked in the state, and we appreciate the coverage and stuff, but like I say, it just doesn't mean a whole lot, and we've tried to play it down as far as our kids. We don't want to get the kids thinking that they're that good, because especially when you're based on 2 teams that you should have beat, not to put either one of those teams down, but those state rankings at this point would mean a lot more to me if we have an excellent game against Garrett.
Well, speaking of Garrett, that's the big ball game next Friday night, and fans, if you want to see a good ball game, I'm sure that's going to be a physical matchup. And Coach, your comments going into the Garrett game next Friday night?
Well, I hope for one thing that we take as many fans over there as we possibly can, and that's been a great ball game over the last 2 years. It's been a real hard-hitting ball game. I'm sure it's going to be a hard-hitting ball game this year. You know, they're an excellently coached football team in regards to what Coach Moe has done over there. There's a lot of connections between my staff and his staff. Bob Wyant, one of his assistants, coached against Coach Sirk, also coached against Coach Saylor. So there's a lot of rivalries that way, and the game's always been a very well-played game, and so we're looking forward to it, and I'm sure it's going to be a very hard-hitting game both ways.
Well, you can't overlook the first 2 ball games, but ever since the schedule came out, we've been waiting for this one, Garrett and Angola. And quite honestly, Garrett has taken the measure of the Hornets over the last few years, and this will be a tough one Friday night. And good luck in that one, and congratulations on your big win Friday against Fremont.
Thank you very much, David. We appreciate it.
Well, Tom, we're at the end of week number 2, and what do you think about the Angola Hornets and their chances?
Well, I think the Hornets, if they play to their potential, could come out a winner next week.
Well, as we look down the road, of course, it'll be sectional action going into that, but the big one is next Friday night, Angola versus Garrett, and we invite you to join us again next week for our Coach's Corner broadcast, when we'll have Coach Harter again and a couple of players, I'm sure, and we'll have the highlights of the Angola and Garrett ball game. Thanks again to Harold Chevrolet for their hospitality, and we'll see you next week. And this is Coach's Corner on TV7.
Wayne.